to start the candidate forum now. And this is for Commissioner Precinct 3. Jason Knight is our moderator. The candidates will make their way up front to sit here at this table. We're going to get started. The candidates are going to have 2 minutes for an opening statement. At the end, they will have an additional 2 minutes to make a closing statement or to take up a new issue that they really believe should have been covered and wasn't, or they can rebut something or finish up a thought they didn't get to finish. Darlene Rabel is going to be our timer, our timekeeper. And because these gentlemen have been to the Hideaway Lake candidate forum, they're already well acquainted with Miss Rabel and the fine job she does keeping time. They all know that when she calls time, they may finish a sentence. They may not finish a paragraph or a chapter. So, and I know these gentlemen, I've seen them all work before, and they understand that. Now, this is a very important race. It's an important race whether you live in Commissioner Precinct 3 or not, because the decisions that the commissioners make affect every one of you and affect the county for a very long time. So give them their good attention, your good attention, and I'm going to come down and be seated and we'll get started. Please be putting your questions on your cards as we go through them, and then be passing those around to Matthew and different ones who are taking up the cards today.
This will tell you you have 30 seconds left, okay? And then this will be your time zone.
Throw it at us after we vote.
Yellow is caution. I'm going to hold up I didn't know I was going to do this, so I didn't bring my paddles today. But I'll hold up the yellow sign toward them to tell them they have 30 seconds left, and then the gray sign when their time's up.
Well, hello, gentlemen. I appreciate you being here. And I guess what I'm going to do is go in alphabetical order to start with to determine who starts us off. So I guess that means that, Jimmy, if you would like to start us off with why you're running. Okay.
Okay. Thank you all for being here today. I'm glad to see we've had a good turnout for this one.
Hold the mic close to your face.
Okay. Is that better? Okay.
Yes.
All right. Thank you all for being here. I'm glad to see we've had a good turnout for this one today, and so appreciate your time. I'm Jimmy Hawley. I started back in 2010 considering running for county commissioner. This is when I first started considering it. Going to commissioner courts. I've been involved in different city council stuff around the Lindale area because I live in Lindale. So I've been involved over there and just kind of got branched out over into county. So next thing you know, I'm looking at the county. We didn't really have I felt like we didn't have lost my train of thought there for representation for our precinct 3 in a long time. But I'm married, been in Lindale since 1973. I have 2 daughters. My oldest daughter is married and has 2 kids of her own, and my youngest daughter is 3.5. So I've started all over, and it's been a blessing. I've been in business for 20 years. When I started out my first business, I started with a dream and some borrowed money from the bank, and I've made it successful. I worked 7 days a week, all I could work till I made it successful. And it branched into other things, and I started doing dirt work. I've done house pads, commercial building pads. I've built subdivision roads to city and county specs. I've done demolition work, and I've shut my construction company down, just parked the equipment. I still have a disposal company that I'm just administrator of, and I can be a full-time county commissioner and be administrator of the disposal company if elected. Thank you.
Very good. All right. Mr. Phillips, you're next.
I'm Terry Phillips. I'm your current county commissioner right now. I'm married to my wife, Karen. Back there, she's the county clerk. We've been married for over 33 years now. I have 2 adult sons. Lance is back here with us. He's 28, and Derek is 25. I attend Rose Heights Church of God. We've been there for 29 years now, where I served on the Pastors Council, Middle Adult Board, worked in the Children's Department, and I'm now the head usher there. I graduated Tyler Junior College. I went to continued my education at the University of Texas at Tyler, and where I did my studies on constitutional development and supervision. I've attended all-day class here at Lakeview with Chris Ann Hall and the Roots of Liberty. I've done that. I think all of the candidates and elected officials were invited, but I believe there was only 2 elected officials that showed up to that, and I was one of them. So I've done that. I've had 80 hours of commissioner training with the B.G. Young Institute put on by Texas A&M. I've had pipeline safety training in case of a disaster, and if there was a natural disaster in the county, I've had 8-hour class on disaster declaration training and all those things so we can take care of citizens in the county. When I first ran for office, I made several commitments. One of them was to vote on every issue. I've done that. One was that I wouldn't take the outrageous pay raise that was voted by the previous Commissioners Court, and I did that, returning $48,000 of that back to the budget and the taxpayers, making our roads a top budget priority. We've done that. We paved over 150 miles of road the first 2 years I was in office. We hit a budget snafu, and we had to go into maintenance mode, and by doing that, we've reduced our road complaints by 75% at this point. We've got several other things that are out of time.
Thank you, Commissioner. Ronnie?
All right, my name's Ronnie Pilcher. I'm from the Winona area. I've lived there most of my life. I missed about 5 or 6 years of my life out there. I'm 46 years old. I'm a small business owner. Most of mine is in real estate, property management. I'm married. I've been married for 22 years. I'm a member of the First Baptist Church in Winona, where I serve as a deacon. I'm also on the Chamber of Commerce in Winona. I'm a voting member on that and strong in that area. I work with our community, been involved in several things in our community and stuff. I've been going to the Commissioner's Court for a little over 1.5 years. Got involved in that just by looking into where my money was going through our taxes, and I got involved with that. Just kept looking into it, and I wouldn't be here if I didn't think I could do it, make a change or improve on it. So that's the reason I'm running. I like our county. Like I said, I'm a long-time resident here. You know, I just like it, and I think we can improve on it. I have 2 kids. I have an 18-year-old son that'll graduate in May. He's a volunteer fire department with Winona, and he's also EMT certified. He works with an ambulance service out of Longview. So, and my daughter's 12 years old. My wife is a school teacher at Big Sandy. She's been there for 22 years also. And we're very involved in our community and our church. And this is the only office I've ever ran for. I've never been involved in politics or anything, and I just think I can make a change, and I'd like to be the next Precinct 3 Commissioner.
Mr. Watts.
I'm Ed Watts. I've spent my life in Smith County except for when I was in the military. Married my wife, my bride, in 1964 on New Year's Eve, and she's been a blessing. We have 2 sons, and they're both out of the house. And some of y'all know what I'm talking about, don't you? So I'm gonna start at the back and go toward my younger years. I just finished building an assisted living in Lindale. We passed the state test examination in September. Prior to that, I was building a retirement community there in Lindale. We have 24 buildings with 88 residences that we lease out to residents. It's much like the Hamptons, except we have a carport at every kitchen door. And so you're not living in a courtyard by Marriott. So, but prior to that, I was building duplexes in Lindale and retaining ownership to it, building streets and contracting it out to get streets built. And before that, I had a truck tire recapping business. I had a franchise in Paris and one in Nacogdoches at one time. We were over 25 employees and over $3 million in sales. That was back in the early 90s. And we had much success in that business, and I sold it out just in the nick of time. And when the Lord tells you to do it, you do it. It's amazing how smart you are. But I got my bachelor's degree from North Texas in business. I have my master's degree in business from Stephen F. Austin. I've served 9 years on the Lindale ISD school board. I attend the First Baptist Church of Lindale. I'm a Gideon, and we love the Lord.
All right, very good. Well, I'd just like to say, speaking from firsthand experience, thank you guys for Commissioner, what you do, serve locally, and you guys willing to get into local politics. And I'd like to go ahead and give them all a round of applause for getting into that. All right, now real quick, a lot of times people ask, how these questions are derived. These are very specific to the job you're seeking. There is no slant to them. No one is trying to set you up. I did not see these questions until today, so I'm going to be reading through them for the second time when I ask them to you. Now, you've got 1 minute to respond. And I'll go ahead and tell y'all, in my short stint in politics, I've learned the value of speaking in sound bites. So, you got 1 minute to make a good sound bite, okay? So, I'm just going to go in the reverse order that we started in. So, I'm going to start with you, Mr. Watts.
Mr. Ryan, shall we do still the 30 seconds?
If somebody is mentioned directly, there will be a 30-second rebuttal. Okay, so if Mr. Watts, if you want to say something nasty about Mr. Pilcher, he's got 30 seconds to come back at you. All right? So again, make those 30 seconds count, Ronnie. Okay, here we go. The first question: do you support creating a special tax district as a means of funding the completion of State Highway Loop 49? Why or why not?
I would certainly like to see it finished. That way it'll get from I-20 to 69 north of Lindale. We've got many 18-wheelers that are coming through Lindale. It's quite dangerous. As for having a special tax district, I quite frankly have not heard that proposed and not prepared to answer it, but I would like to see Loop 49 completed so we can get the trucks out of downtown Lindale.
Okay. Ronnie?
I'm going to say no because I don't like toll roads anyway.
Actually, is that right?
I'll do.
No, that's right. Yeah, that's right. Go Terry.
I wouldn't support that. A special taxing district, I'm probably not in that if it's the extension, be people around there or whatever, but I really wouldn't be for it because, I think we're taxed enough already, and, TxDOT just needs to start spending the money they have more wisely on top of that.
I would support a special tax to finish that road. I have to agree with Mr. Phillips on that there's plenty of tax money coming in to the government. It just needs to be maximized and used efficiently and effectively. And so if that loop, and I agree with these guys, it does need to be completed. So therefore, they need to maximize the money coming in that they already have to complete that job and make it a top priority and not start some other kind of tax. Because once you get the tax started, there's no end in it. So no, there's no way I would be in favor of that.
Okay. Why don't you go ahead and keep the microphone there, Jimmy, and I'm going to start on the second question. What are the responsibilities of a county commissioner?
Well, the county commissioner, they're basically the Sunset Commission. And the Texas legislature has a Sunset Commission that oversees more than 150 agencies that, and of course they really don't do a good job at it, but to overseeing everything, but the county commissioner and county judge oversees everything, all the budgets, approves all the budgets. Every county but Smith County, the county commissioner is the road and bridge supervisor. And so I feel like that you need some knowledge of that. But you oversee all the maintenance on any buildings, any capital improvements that need to be done. Pretty much all the government control in Smith County of budgets and appoints members to different boards. It's like appointing the members to ESD boards, any special boards that may arise during the year.
Commissioner Phillips?
The county commissioners has exclusive authority over signing all contracts in the name of the county. Of course, they're over all the facilities, and they can appoint vacant positions, you know, and elected officials should they die or be removed from office or things like that. Of course, you know, all the buildings, you know, they're over all the buildings, and they call elections and certify elections, polling places, and all of those things like that. They set the tax rate, you know, and figure the budget for the county. So, and Jimmy said the other things that was already mentioned. So,
Ronnie?
I mean, it's basically, I'm going to speak what they said, but it's just over the budget, over the all the contracts. Main thing I see is, other than that, outside of that, is representing the people that's out in the county, what their concerns and stuff are, and bring it to the court. But other than, you know, maintaining all the buildings and just the contracts and the real estate agreements, you know, I mean, that's what I see.
The job of the county commissioner is a whole lot like the job of a school board member. We adopt a budget and set a tax rate. We conduct the business for the county. We are responsible for signing the leases, entering into contracts, such as for the leasing of the automobiles for the sheriff's department, for the trucks, for the county road and bridge, and those kind of things. We also are responsible for the upkeep and maintenance of the buildings, to be sure that those things are maintained in good order, so as that we don't come up and have problems with buildings due to poor maintenance. And that's happened some, and but the big thing is that we conduct the business of the county through contracts, through leases, through all of the things in operating the county government.
Okay, Ed, go ahead and give it back to Ronnie. I'm going to let him start out this time. What are your top 3 priorities if you are elected to represent Precinct 3?
Well, the first thing right off the bat would be keeping a balanced budget. That would be more important in this time, and also looking into our expenditures to see if there's other monies available. I do know the Commissioner's Court has that person working on that right now. And one of the other things is next terms on some of the commissioners for the ESD board. I'd like to see maybe that looked at a little better on who's appointed on that board.
Okay. Ed, why don't you go ahead and go next?
My first 3 priorities would be the budget, of course, to see that we get our money's worth on the budget. The next thing would be roads, and in the roads, well, some of them out where I live are in pretty bad shape, but some of you folks living in Tyler and riding on city streets, they're not near as bad as ours. So anyway, the thing is that I would also like to see us maybe be able to do something for the employees. Boy, that's a tough thing to talk about, because you're looking at spending tax dollars for that. But when I was in business, my number one asset was my employees, and I took care of my employees. I had a store in Nacogdoches, and when I worked down there, I had a manager that made more than me, 2 salesmen that made more than me, and a tire buster. That's a man who is fixing flats, and he made more than I did because they were making me money and I took care of them.
Jimmy, go ahead.
Well, the first thing I want to do is start working on the budget for next year. I heard said that the budget you work on it for 4 months. Well, I think it's something that needs to be looked at every day, and you start building a good rapport with all your every supervisor of over every department, and you're spending some time with them to see what their needs are. Maybe you're looking at things that you feel tax money is wasted. Look for any duplicated processes. Looking at ways that we can fix the problem with the budget, not just cutting the budget, but look for the solution. Try to put the fire out at the source of the fire, and try to look at improving our road situation. I've got 20 plus years experience in road work, running an asphalt plant, different things. So there's ways that I feel that I can probably improve that. There's only a couple of pieces of equipment that the county owns that I won't admit to running because I don't want to be on it again. That's just something. I'm out of time.
Well, first off, I'll continue to strive to maintain unity on Commissioners Court, work with the other commissioners that are there, and work toward improving our road and bridges, and making public safety a top priority, working with our new sheriff. I think that's going to be important. Somebody that can, knows their way around the budget, can work with the new sheriff and do the things that need to be done. These things about helping the employees and stuff, I mean, it's very costly. A 3% raise to the employees, and I'm not saying they don't deserve a raise, but we got to be able to pay for it. That's about $1 million. That's 1 cent on our tax rate. So, you have to be able to pay for these things when you do them. I'm very knowledgeable in heavy equipment. I own heavy equipment. I operate heavy equipment, but I'm not out there building roads. We have people that can do that, and they do a pretty good job when they do it. So.
Well, okay, that was directed right to Ed Watts. So Ed, 30 seconds to tell us, how do you pay for it and what incentives are you talking about for the employees? Get the microphone.
I can't give you a set amount as to how much, but this last year, they had $4.4 million that was added to the fund balance. That is over and above, and the state has a set amount that you're supposed to have, and we are in excess of that, but we could have definitely taken some of that $4 million and gave it to employees.
Okay. 30 seconds to rebut, Commissioner.
The fund, are you talking about the reserve fund? It's a lot more than $4 million. It was 12% of whatever.
You added $4 million to it.
Extra.
To get it to 12. You want to see the figures?
Oh, no. I thought you did. I thought you just said it was $4 million. I'm sorry, but it's more than that. But we have to have this rainy day fund for hard times, and we still may not be out of hard times. And I'm afraid what's coming. And you're going to need somebody in this commissioner's position, I believe, that can make the hard and tough decisions. You're not going to make everybody happy, but it's tough.
Okay, go ahead and keep it, Commissioner, because I'm going to let you start the next round. How much is the Smith County budget, all funds, and what actual budgetary experience do you have?
I didn't understand the first part of what?
What's the entire budget? What's the dollar amount of the entire budget that you oversee? And then, what is your actual budgetary experience?
Oh, okay. The budget's $72 million, and I'm not the budget officer. The county judge is the budget officer. He receives input. We matter of fact, just got all the elected officials and department heads just now send their budgets into the county judge, and and the auditor's office, and they go over it. And once they go over it and look at all whatever may be cut out of that, then the commissioners come together and set up, and we can go over. Of course, I go over everything line by line privately in my office and look at everything before we ever get together. We just hired Mike Canat as a part-time person, as a budget analyst to help us. There's not any other corporation around this United States that don't have somebody like him with this type budget that can help us analyze this budget. Because I'm not an accountant, but I have sense enough to look at a budget and know where to spend and, you know, when not to, where we can cut. But he helps us analyze those numbers.
Jimmy, go ahead.
Well, I agree with it. The budget's 72 million, and my budget experience is just with my own. If my company budget was 72 million, I probably wouldn't be running for county commissioner. I make good money, and I've had to struggle, and I've started out, and so the budget is something that you work on when you're on a private business, and you're trying to make ends meet. It's something you struggle with on a daily basis. You're always looking at ways to trim out any fat that you may have and make things more productive. And I feel that's what you got to. I go back to that with the county. It's something you got to work on all the time, and be in relations with these people that's controlling the money, that's spending the money. Boosting employee morale doesn't mean giving them a raise. Sometimes it means giving them the credit they deserve for accomplishments that they may have done. You cannot run this county by yourself. The county commissioners can't run it by themselves. It takes the whole group, everybody, every supervisor, to do a good job to run this county.
Ronnie, then Ed.
All right, I agree with the 72 million. My budget experience is my own household. My household was in order as far as my budget. The other budget experience I've had is being on our stewardship committee at our church. And as y'all know, we went through some hard times, and I was on that stewardship committee. Whenever we went through the hard times, we made difficult decisions on what we had to cut. When people are not spending their own money, they spend other people's money pretty good, you know. So, we just have to look at stuff like that. And our church budget is not near that much. I think it's $300,000 now, but we handled it pretty well, I thought.
Well, was a long time ago, but I had managerial accounting when I was in graduate school, and I've always said if I had to keep books, that I'd go to work digging ditches because I won't do accounting. But anyway, the whole deal is that when I was on the LISD school board, we'd had a superintendent that had brought the budget in, and we had worked with him on the budget and gone over the budget, and we had a new superintendent. He came in and dropped the budget on the school board and said, we need y'all to okay this. And I said, well, we need to review it. And he said, well, what part of it do you want to review? And I said, I guess we'll look at it line by line. And we looked at it line by line, and he was going to have a 3-cent tax increase. And when we got through, we didn't have a tax increase, and we had a little extra fund balance. But the big thing is that we've just got to have our priorities straight, and I think I can handle the budget.
Go ahead and hang on the microphone there, Mr. Watts. I'll start with you. Have you ever declared bankruptcy, and are you current on your property taxes?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And I can assure you that it is a strain to pay my property taxes.
Well, was the answer yes, sir, you have declared bankruptcy?
No, sir.
Okay, no, sir, and yes, sir.
Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize.
All right.
I have not declared bankruptcy, and my credit is good. It may be used up, but I am current with everybody.
Good enough. Ronnie?
No, I have not declared bankruptcy, and I am current on all my property taxes, and we just got our appraisals in, and I guess I'll be up there this month also.
All right, man. Let's go to Commissioner and then Jim.
No and yes.
Okay.
Just like the others. And one thing I left out a while ago, I got a couple of seconds here, talked about the budget. You know, I was there in this budget when we worked through one of the worst budget crises in the history of Smith County, where we had to cut $6 million from the budget and, you know, nearly 34 jobs. So I wanted to add that into the...
No, sir, I've never declared bankruptcy, and I am current on all of my property taxes.
Okay. And go ahead and hang on to it, Jimmy. I'll start with you this time. The present county road repair and maintenance system in Smith County is the unit road system. Do you support this system? Why or why not? And please be specific.
Well, that's kind of a yes and no. I support it because I feel that it's probably it saves the county money by having one county barn, and you don't have, if you had four county barns, then you'd have to have at least a couple of motor graders at every one. You'd have to have dump trucks at every one. So the way they have it now is you can have less equipment and less manpower by the unit system, and just delegating those guys in which precinct they work in. So that's favorable there. I support that. What I really don't support is just like precinct 3. We have 45% of the county roads in Smith County are in precinct 3. Commissioner Phillips says that today he said the first 2 years. Before he said the first year they paved 150 miles of road. Well, the first year it was 92 miles, and it finally dawned on me that the first year he'd done that, the budget was already approved and set up by the previous commission, and only 20 miles of that was in precinct 3. So I feel like we need more money, more road repair for that precinct.
All right, and since Commissioner Phillips, I've got him going next, do you want a rebuttal, so can we give him a minute and a half? All right, let's do that. A minute to respond.
Well, I was just going to say I absolutely agree with the system we have now, the unitized system. It saves money, you know, by not duplicating processes. And in our 10-point county service roadmap, that's what, you know, some of the things we look at. And so I would not go that way, just the simple fact that it saves money. He's absolutely right. The budget was already in process, but I was in office at that time when that was done. And by the way, precinct 3, out of those amount of roads, and when I say topped, I mean seal coated, oil top roads, everything. Precinct 3 had more roads done than any of the other precincts. And in doing this, you know, we have to, you know, we can't just say that we can go out and pave somewhere. We have a system that we have to look at. I'm taken out of the equation by this unitized system we're in. By statute, it takes it out, so I can't go and say something, well, I'm going to pave your road if you'll vote for me. So it's taken out by statute.
And then, Mr. Watts, why don't you be number 3? Because I don't think you've gone third yet. And my president has got me all about being fair. So, how do we do that? Did you? Well, yes, you do have 30 seconds to respond. I'm sorry, since it was direct voting. So yes, go ahead, Jimmy.
Yes, he said there's more of the roads done in precinct 3. In the 08-09 budget year, first year Commissioner Phillips took office, there was 90.23 miles done total in the county. There was 11 miles that reworked with road oil in precinct 3, and 2.2 miles was hot mix overlay, and the rest 6-something miles was chip seal. So it wasn't an equal amount. There wasn't more in precinct 3. So I got this from the Road and Bridge Department.
Okay. Now, Mr. Watts, your turn.
Yes, sir. Yes, I'm in favor of the unitized system. As many miles of road as we have in precinct 3, I would hate to go to Commissioner's Court and try to arm wrestle 45% of the money. So I definitely want to go with the unitized system.
Right.
I'm in agreement with the system that we have presently. I'm just like everybody else out in precinct 3. We'd like a little more road maintenance, but you know, I know we can't take care of everything, but we do need to keep an eye on our roads, because if we let them get too far down, it's just that much more money to bring them back up. So, but I do agree with the system.
Terry wants to respond. 30.
Save that till the end for your 2 minutes.
Okay. All right, and go ahead, and Ronnie, you keep the microphone. I'm going to let you start this next one. If you want the road maintenance system changed, do you know what steps would have to be taken to change it?
I don't want the road system changed, and I do not know the steps to do that. But like I said, I'm satisfied. A lot of the other people that I've talked to out in our precinct, they're satisfied with the system that we have, but their concern is their road, you know. So, I mean, that's the only thing I can see.
Okay. Mr. Watt?
I am satisfied with the system that we have, and I'm not interested in changing, so it would be fruitless for me to try to learn what would need to be done to how to change it.
Okay. Jimmy, why don't you go ahead?
No, just like I said earlier, I'm in favor of the unit system, so I'm not gonna come in and start trying to change it or anything, so I agree with these guys on that.
Okay.
You would have to call an election and take it to the citizens to change it if you wanted to go back to the other system, I think was the in question. You know how you would do that.
But you don't want to do it?
Oh, absolutely not. I stated that
Yep.
earlier. And
Yeah, got it. All right. Jimmy, why don't you start on this next round? In 2003, the Roadmap Business Plan was passed in order to set a standard for the Commissioners Court to meet. The business plan was reaffirmed by a vote of the court in 2005 and in 2007. What do you know about the plan, and how will you implement it? Be specific.
I don't guess, I haven't done any research on it, so I'm not familiar with it, I don't guess. As far as the business plan of it, I haven't researched that.
Okay, go ahead and give it back to Commissioner Phillips.
in the 10-point service plan, what we try to do is reach desired goals or results, and we measure those. You know, they're measured performances and everything. And then in the 10-point plan, there's accountability, and under each one of these things, I'm going to list them: accountability, technology, staffing, workforce, service processes, intergovernmental networking, long-range budgeting, task force, productivity pay incentives, contract service management. You have all these things that are under this, but you measure these performances. You know, when you have a department head do something, you know, your contracts, just like the electrical contract we just did. You know, I went to our purchaser and I said, look, we need to look over this electric contract. And it's something we do, send it out for bid. Instead of 4 cents, instead of 6 cents, we're getting the 4 cent rate now, saving the county $900,000 over the next 3 years. But you look at these things as they come along and measure your results to see if they're working and what you can do to improve on in everything in this area. There's a bunch of different things that fall under each one of these things.
Go ahead, Ronnie.
I didn't know about this plan. I believe Ms. Fleming's helped put this in order. The last time we got asked that question, I really didn't know, but I think it's a good plan. I don't know how much is being implemented, but I agree. I think it's a good idea to try to keep up and look at it.
It looks like Mr. Phillips is a whole lot more prepared than I was, because he had that answer written down, and I don't know the answer to it. That's one of those questions that when we get to Commissioner's Court that we'll learn. It's not rocket science.
Okay.
It's on the website.
Did you want a 30-second rebuttal since he addressed you directly? Okay. All right, let's go to, let me see here. Let's start with, Mr. Watts, let's start with you on this next one, okay? In 2006, the commissioners voted to give themselves a 30% pay increase. 3 of the 4 current commissioners do not take the increased pay. Will you work for the previous salary of approximately $45,000, or do you intend to take the increased salary of approximately $60,000? Will you sign an affidavit to waive the automatic increase in the salary line for county commissioner?
Oh, I guess I'm way behind, because I thought it was $48,000, and we have already agreed in another forum like this that that we would all take the 36,000 that Mr. Phillips is working for until, Mr. Phillips said at that time, until we get the county employees a raise. And so, I go back to the 36 that I've already stated until we can get the employees a raise.
Okay.
I mean, I agree to the 45, I don't remember the 36, but, I don't, like I said, that was out of grassroots in Lindale, but I agree with that. If we can't give our employees a raise, I mean, we need to, we're the head of it, so, you know, the morale don't get very good if you take more money than what you're trying to give out.
Go ahead, Jimmy.
Well, when I started considering this, I really didn't even look into what the pay was. I found out what the pay was later on. I was way into it. And in the past, I've always said that I would work for the same thing Commissioner Phillips was working for until the last debate. At the last debate, he made the comment. He says that he's given $48,000 in a 4-year period back to the taxpayers. But at our last debate, he said that the money went into a slush fund, and it only took 2 commissioners to vote the use of that money. And he said something about it was used for dance lessons and some other nonsense stuff. I don't even remember now what all he said. So I feel like I'm a much better manager of my money than to do something like that. And I couldn't sit up here and honestly say that I'm giving it back to the taxpayers, back to the budget, knowing that it's not going into the budget. It's going into a slush fund. So I haven't researched this to find out exactly what it is. The one person I did ask a question to didn't seem too favorable in commenting on the slush fund.
Commissioner Phillips, you've got a minute and a half to respond.
I did give back $48,000 into the budget period. I voted I didn't vote. I made a motion 2 different times on 2 separate occasions to roll that salary increase back, and it failed for a lack of a second. So I tried to get that thing lowered back, and I'm not, I'm the only one up here that's gave that money back at this point, and I'm not in favor of taking a raise as long as our employees aren't getting a raise. I did say that in the last debate. What has happened is, whenever Commissioner Fleming and former Commissioner Sharon Emmerich started this thing, this was supposed to be put in place for employee tuition reimbursement. And what has happened now is they put it in there, but they've turned it into this thing where just any commissioner can take money out of there as they see fit for aerobics or employee recognition or whatever. If I want to go buy caps for Road and Bridge or guy, or a briefcase or an iPod or whatever for someone, you can do it. And this is happening. People, I'll just say it, Commissioner Hampton and Joe Baker is taking this, but they're not contributing anything to it, and they can spend out of it. I don't want to give them my money any longer to spend out of that, so that's why I'm saying that unless our employees, I'll still not take it as long as our employees aren't getting it.
Okay. Now go ahead and hang on to it, because I'm going to do a quick redirect here. With regard to the affidavit to waive the automatic increase, would you sign one, or have you?
I have signed one every year.
Jimmy?
For an automatic increase in pay?
Yes, would you sign an affidavit? Because that's the only way that you can say that I will not take the automatic increases as a commissioner.
Well, like I just said, I mean, why would I mean, I agree with these guys that we need the employees need a raise. I mean, I've started right from the start saying that our employees need boosted employee morale, they need some incentives. But just like Commissioner said, I mean, you can't say that you're giving this money back to the taxpayers if it's going into a slush fund. It's wasted money. I mean, they're wasting it.
Understood, but would you sign the affidavit saying that you would not take the automatic increase?
Yes, if we can redirect the money, that money, yes, I would.
Okay. Mr. Watts?
Yes.
Yes.
Good.
I don't like the slush fund deal. The more I find out about it, the more I don't like it. I don't know. I don't think it's originally set up that way.
It wasn't started out that way, but that's kind of what it's turned into. I'm sorry,
Okay.
but that's the thing.
Okay.
Look like we could get that changed.
Okay. It looks to me like it's your turn, Commissioner Phillips, to get the first question. Many in the state legislature continue to talk about the need to raise the gas and motor fuel tax. do you support a local option gas tax increase that would go to the roads?
If it is going to Smith County roads only, I would, first off, it's gonna be, the voters will have to decide. That's an issue that the state legislators would have to let, the counties do. We can't even put it out there until the state legislators allowed us to anyway. But if they did, then it'd be the voters that would decide. But we have a lot of road issues in this county, and I think that if the citizens wanted to do that, I'm gonna let them decide, and I would be in favor of putting it on the ballot if they wanted me to put it on the ballot. But that's something that they would have to decide.
Okay. Jimmy?
Well, if the proper steps was taken to get it on the ballot and let the citizens vote on that, I wouldn't be out campaigning for it, and I would be campaigning against it. But no, I'm certainly not for a tax increase that's going to go to the roads. I feel like like I said earlier, there's plenty of money coming in. It's got to be efficient and maximized in order to get the best use of your money. So no, I wouldn't be in favor of any kind of new tax.
Okay. And go ahead, Ronnie. Okay.
I would not be in favor for it. The first thing that comes to my mind is what our road and bridge tax is going for to start with. That'd be a double dip if we was to do that. So if the road and bridge is not cutting it, I don't think another tax is going to cut it.
Mr. Watts?
I'm gonna go on with Mr. Holly and Mr. Phillips in that, if the taxpayers, if the state passes it where the county citizens would vote on it, then I'm like Mr. Holly, I would not campaign for it or against it. I'd let the citizens speak. They're the ones gonna be having to pay it.
Okay. And go ahead and keep the microphone there, Mr. Watts. What is the county judge's role in relationship to the commissioners on the commissioner's court? In other words, do you believe the county judge is the boss of the commissioner's court?
No, sir.
What do you consider the relationship to be?
He is the chief executive officer, but we all serve our constituents.
Okay. All right. Go ahead, Ronnie.
I would say not. He's not the boss. I mean, he has to come to us to get the vote to whatever he puts on the agenda. So I would say no.
Okay. Jim?
No, he would be the boss of it. It would be, he's I guess the leader of the court. He's a tiebreaker if it's equal tie or something like that. I guess would be my opinion of that.
He's absolutely not my boss. I work for the citizens of Precinct 3 and Smith County. He presides over the court and handles the meetings. He votes in every issue that comes along, so he's not a tiebreaker or anything. He does vote in every issue.
Okay. All right, Ronnie, I'm going to let you start out on this one. What is the main purpose of government at any level?
Well, I would say it's the main purpose is for well, I see it as control, but I would say it would be for the taxation of the people and to put guidelines. I mean, I don't know if I really answered that right, but I mean that's what I see.
Okay. Mr. Watts?
Well, the thing that comes to mind is promote the common defense, but I don't guess that's appropriate for Smith County. It is to provide goods and services that are not readily within the realm of a business operation that can be done by local individual. It's something that the collective has to do, and that collective being government.
Okay. Jimmy?
Well, I guess my opinion of that would be that you know, to set any laws, to govern the laws, to enforce the laws, the government, you know, to vote on any, or to approve any county business, you know, to be a good stewardship of the tax dollars, set the tax rate. I guess that, you know, as far as the duties of government of any level, I mean, it's kind of controls everything that we do in life, almost. So, and here lately, it seems like it tries to control everything, even our religion.
Well, them controlling it and everything is not their duty. The government's duty is to preserve liberty and protect our property. I mean, you know, and our rights and for our welfare, you know, in wartime or whatever. But it's really to preserve liberty and protect our property.
Okay. All right, Jimmy, I want you to start here. Y'all doing all right? You need to stretch, take a deep breath or anything? All right. Are they doing all right, y'all? Are y'all doing okay? Are you still with us? All right. All right, yeah, y'all wake up. If you finish listening before they finish talking, then just leave. All right. All right, now y'all ready? Well, a lot of you didn't take me seriously, folks. Good grief. All right. Here we go. What do you believe is the greatest overall challenge ahead for Smith County government? And if you have a solution, tell us what it is.
Well, the greatest overall challenge for Smith County government is going to be balancing the budget in the future, because we've got inflation coming, we've got higher interest rates coming. Obama's going to want everybody to try to contribute, all the working people, I should say, to contribute to all his plans and his debt that he's put in. It's going to pass down to every one of us, and it's going to affect the local government. Smith County is growing. I think Brian Hughes said last night there's 1,200 people, I think it's a week or a month, I don't remember, that's moving to Texas, and that didn't include illegals. So we, you know, that's increased in cost in our local government. That's the main thing, is that's our biggest problem ahead of us, is debt and our money, being able to manage our money.
Okay. Mr. Phillips?
Have a balanced budget, I should say.
Gotcha.
Well, one of the biggest problems, everything revolves around, you know, the budget, basically, obviously. That's very, very important, you know, making sure we have a balanced budget, don't spend out of the rainy day fund, which, you know, I've made sure that that's the way I've voted every time that we've done it. But the biggest, one thing I would say is employee health care. We have an out of control, especially with this Obama health care coming down the pipes, where, I mean, we're having to prop up our employee insurance and everything, because we've had a Cadillac plan in the past, you know, and we've lowered it to where we've got like a Chevrolet plan, a good plan. But I have been working with trying to privatize our insurance, you know, with, let's say, Blue Cross, Blue Shield. I've been working all year on doing that, and I don't know how it's going to work out. We're going to have to look at the bids, look at things, but, you know, maybe privatizing our insurance. But that's one of the biggest things that we really got to look at in county government right now.
Mr. Watts?
In regards to what Mr. Phillips said, I'm praying that Obamacare is dead. I say this honestly, and I'm sorry, but I think we're under judgment. I think it's about as good as it's going to get until we humble ourselves and seek God's face and repent. We haven't got a chance, folks. As long as we keep promoting abortion and doing abortion and promoting homosexuality, we got no way to go but down. We've got God's hands tied where He can't bless us. And so the budget, and we're going to have inflation, and we're going to have interest rates, and we're going to be saying, "Where's Jimmy Carter?"
I would say, what's the question?
Jimmy Carter.
What do you think of Jimmy Carter? No. Sorry, you've only got a minute. All right. What do you believe is the greatest overall challenge ahead for Smith County government? And if you have a solution, what is it?
Well, I do agree with Mr. Phillips here is our county employee insurance. I've talked to several of the people, really not as far as having a plan. I think maybe they might be headed in the right direction. But another thing bothers me in our county, and I know that it's its own taxing entity, but the commissioner sits that board. I've talked to several people that's been on that board. The ESD bothers me. It's $8 million in debt. It's roughly 5 years old. I just see a real need to make sure that that board is set with people that really want to do the job and understand that job, not to give the firemen, the volunteers a bunch of money, but it's just that that's a tax dollar of the county, so that's really a burden.
All right, Ronnie, you go ahead and hang on to it. This is the last question. Congratulations. And we're just going to go straight down the line.
Okay.
Very briefly describe your management style.
My management style is I want the people to do the job. I want to put the people there that there's not a problem, you know. Like I said, it goes back to the board. I want to put the people there that's self-motivated. I'm self-motivated. I have and just put the right people there that wants to do the job. That's my main deal, and support them in their decisions.
I have tried to manage, to organize my management philosophy much like Sam Walton did, management by walking about. And the thing is that I have never asked any of the people that work with me, they don't work for me, they work with me, to do anything that I won't do myself, hadn't done myself. And the whole deal is that they know that I care about them. And my goal when I was in business is that when somebody leaves, I want them to say 2 years down the road that Ed Watts was the most fair man I ever worked for in my life.
Well, as far as management, I feel like you have to lead by example. I agree with Mr. Watts on part of that. You have to put yourself in their shoes. You have to work with them. You don't ask them to do something that you wouldn't do yourself, or put them in some kind of situation that's where they don't need to be, or unethical or unsafe. You have to show good leadership ability, and you have to work with the people and not against the people. You have to respect them. You have to give them the credit where credit is due, and don't take all the credit for yourself. I'm not the best speller, but there's no I in teamwork, and you have to have teamwork, and that's the reason I can be here today. My business is running fine with the people I have in place. I have excellent people in place. They know what I like and what I expect, and they do it. And I spend maybe 2 or 3 hours a week since November just being administrator of this company, of Harley Disposal, and we don't have any problems with it. And that's what I would do as a county commissioner, is show the proper leadership and work with the employees of every level.
I'm not a micromanager, first off. That's how I felt, and lead by example. I have a very good working relationship with all of our department heads. Anybody could talk to anyone. I think they find me favorable if you ask them. But one thing I would like to say, as far as leading by examples, back when we had the worst budget crisis that we faced, I tried to get one of the employees cut in my department that works directly for us. Commissioners only had 2, but I wanted to be the first to lead by example, but couldn't get that done for lack of commitment by some others. But just try to lead by example. And one thing I'd like to respond, if I can have the rest of my time in 30 seconds, to the ESD board. You know, Mr. Pilcher's mentioned this many times. His son works for the Winona Fire Department. You know, and they're trying to help him. That's fine. But you know, all I have tried to do in appointing these boards, we do appoint them, is appoint people that are like-minded, that are constitutional conservatives, that will follow the law, be open and accountable, and that's all we've done. I think we've got some great people. Tommy Bronk mentioned the president of the Firefighters Association mentioned in an article a month ago that the board, he believed the board was moving forward and everything with what we have. We have an ex-mayor of Longview, Mitch Henderson, doing a great job, and some of the other guys I could mention, but
That did include your 30 seconds.
Yeah, you got a 30-second rebuttal since you were mentioned directly. Go ahead.
Well, my son does not work. He volunteers. He's 18 years old, and this is not the reason I'm running to overcome ESD. I'm very proud of my son. I don't think we want to go into all that, but I just see a lot of people I've talked to, they don't really understand the strain on that commissioner out there.
Okay. All right. Mr. Watts, I'm going to start with you. Fellas, here's where you close the deal. Here's the elevator speech. You have 2 minutes for your closing discussion to talk about who you are. Mr. Watts, we'll start with you.
Talk about who we are, or
Just wrap it up. Tell us one more time why you want and deserve this job.
Okay. Let's go back to the employees and we have, and I have it here in front of me, we have $12.4 million. We put $4.4 million extra into the general fund this last year. They did not know that when they adopted the budget, because they can't know it until after the fiscal year is over with. This year, we are operating at about $350,000 for the jail and sending to other counties. And we have in that, I believe, $2 million budgeted, so we're gonna have some money there. I think it's imperative that we look and see how to get our people a raise. The thing is it is not popular. But then again, if it was us that was there, and if we had had our insurance go from $100 a month to $600 a month, and we hadn't had a raise, boy, things would be getting tight. And so I think that we've got to do everything we can to look at getting the employees a raise. That is not the all in and end all. The thing is that I think with my education and experience, that I can do the job of being a county commissioner for Smith County that will bring honor to the position and to the county.
Ronnie, why don't you go ahead?
Well, I would like the support of the people. I wouldn't be here if I didn't have that out in our precinct. I was talked to by several people to do this. If I didn't think I didn't have the time, I wouldn't be here. It takes a lot of time. I've been devoted to this. My family is behind me on this. And if I didn't think there needed to be a change, or if I was satisfied, I would not be here. So that's why I'm here, and I would just appreciate the support.
Jimmy?
Well, I feel with my business experience, my leadership abilities that I've proven in the past, the organization I belong to, the knowledge that I can bring to the Commissioners Court, I feel that it would be a well-rounded Commissioners Court, and versatile knowledge up there. I feel that I can bring a lot of improvement. I want to represent the constituents that's hiring me to do this job, and that's what I intend to do if I'm elected. Commissioner Phillips I'll go back to employee morale. I've said that all along, and giving credit where credit's due. Commissioner Phillips had said something before in an earlier debate about the electric bill, And I checked into that, come to find out it's on a 3-year contract. It's looked at every 3 years. The purchasing department handles that. What I was told was he had nothing to do with that. He just voted, along with everyone else to approve that, which is good. I mean, it saved the taxpayers money. But once you sign a contract, you can't go back in the middle of that contract and change it, even if if it's higher, they're gonna charge you some kind of points. You're gonna have to negotiate pretty hard if you're gonna get that thing changed. But I feel that there's a lot of need out here. I feel that the commissioner needs to be a full-time job, especially if you're gonna pay us $47,000 a year. It needs to be more than 20 hours a week. Everyone I've talked to says that nobody up there puts more than 20 hours a week into it, and that's other commissioners have told me this. So I feel that there needs to be more time invested into it, and to represent not just your precinct that's voted for you, but all of Smith County. We need to be able to. I want to work with the new sheriff that comes in and have to get more patrol on the streets. You got to have at least someone with some common sense that's going to get in here and put the effort into it to do these things.
Commissioner, you have 2.5 minutes, 30 seconds for the rebuttal, and then 2 minutes for closing.
I brought a lot of common sense into this position. I believe it's not true about the 20 hours. I spend way more than 20 hours. I mean, I get calls night and day and everything else. I went one time 3 weeks, and 2.5 weeks, I told my wife, I said, we've not been at home. This was on a Sunday night, 2.5 weeks. So I spent a lot of time, and I don't believe there's another commissioner out there that said that. It's absolutely not true. I'm a full-time commissioner, and I want to thank the citizens for, allowing me to be their commissioner. I consider it an honor and a privilege to do so. These things that we've talked about here, employee morale, and some of these things that, it gets down. But when you have to go through one of the toughest budget times and a crisis in the history of Smith County, basically, morale is going to be down when sometimes when you have to cut insurance, start making them pay a premium where they didn't pay a premium before, when you have to start making them pay a copay where they didn't pay before, to get it in line with private sector out there. Whenever you cut their retirement from a 2-to-1 match down to a 1-to-1 match, that's not going to make any of you happy, but this is not what the real world is. We have to line up with what the real world is. And these are tough decisions that I've had to make, and sometimes you're not popular when you have to make these tough decisions. But a real leader does that and looks people square in the eye and tells them the truth, whether it's popular or not. And I'll stand behind that any day. And I just really appreciate, the citizens of the county that standing behind me and everything. In the last debate, a couple of my opponents here, Mr. Pilcher, Mr. Holly, said that would they raise taxes? Well, they said, well, we don't know what the future brings. We may have to raise taxes. Depending on the future, they couldn't commit not to. I'm here to tell you that I'm going to work every way possible not to, and I'm not going to do that. I can sit here and tell you that I'm not going to, because I know where there's waste, and I work every budget period trying to get rid of those. So thank you very much for having us, and I've got a lot of things about these things, the electric plans and different things where I've saved money, and I'll be glad to talk to you afterwards and share some of those with you. But thank you very much.
Let's give them all a round of applause. Now, one thing that y'all should know is that Joanne is currently working on a plan right now to see to it that one individual from the court will have the authority to spend that money out of the workforce fund. So they will not be able to spend that money out of the workforce fund. So, yeah.
They don't have the authority now, so I'm going to look into
I
that.
tried to pass that, but I didn't get a
Oh,
vote
heck
for
no.
lack of a
You
second.
don't, no, that is supposed to be a no-no from the get-go.
Absolutely.
Well,
No, there's shenanigans
So-
going on there. I don't know what that's all about.
I will be looking into that.
There you go. I want to thank all of you for your interest. And let me tell you something, from one local elected official to potential and currently local elected officials. Look, y'all, This is it. This is the last line of defense against all this garbage that's going on in our country. It's not the sexiest elected position. You know, the best I don't get paid at all. And most of us, we have to show up to these lunches, and that's the deal. You know, you get to go to all the lunches. It's not sexy, it's not glamorous, but let me tell you something, it's absolutely critical. And the fact that these men would be willing to put themselves into that fight is honorable. So thank you guys, you all did great. With that,